Hey Kelvin, I wanted to quickly go over the quiz you took over Ozymandias and some of the issues I saw that you had in the on the quiz. So I want to look at the poem first, and then we will look at the questions you missed on the quiz. So hopefully, it will help you when you retake it the next time. So Ozymandias is by Percy B. Shelley, and so if you look quickly here, the I means that this is the speaker. But the speaker meets a traveler. So if you look, I met a traveler from an antique land who said, so the speaker's I, but then really the person who gives the information, the real speaker of the poem, I guess, if you could say, the narrator next, is the traveler. So the traveler is who tells us all of the rest of the poem, okay, and who is giving information or telling a story to the speaker, who is the I here, okay? So I'm going to read it quickly. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies." So that visage is like form of the face, or this a, a, here it's a statue, but visage is like the look on the face, or the face lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor, so if it's sculpted, it's a statue, well those passions red which yet survive. So the sculptor could tell how much passion this person had that they sculpted, and all that survives in the sculpture. Stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal, so the statue is put up on a pedestal, these words appear: "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains." So those words were on the statue, and it says, "Look at all my works." So at one point, there was all that Ozymandias had built around him, but now all that is left is this crumbling statue. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. So there's nothing left but this statue that was supposed to show all his works and everything he had created, but all that's left are these crumbling words and this crumbling statue. Okay, so let's go back and look at the quiz. Give me just a second. Okay, so the first question that you missed on this particular quiz, and I want to look at I know you'll have different questions next time, but I want to look at how you are reading the question and then how you're perceiving the text, so that I can get you to kind of flip that mindset, so that no matter what question comes up, you can understand the text and understand the question and have a better chance about answering it correctly. Okay, so this question deals with lines 10 through 11, so I wanted to look at the lines first. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. So we've switched speakers again. You start with the I, but then it's the traveler speaking. But then they tell you that the words appear on the statue, and this is talking about who the statue is of. My name is Ozymandias. Well, who is Ozymandias? Well, if you're in Poetry Foundation, you can see that he was a pharaoh, but we know Ozymandias, it says it right here, a king of kings. Okay, so let's go back to the question. So who is speaking those lines? My name is Ozymandias. You put the traveler, so that's what you chose, but is the traveler Ozymandias? Who is the statue of? The statue is of the king. And who is speaking? Who's saying, I am Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look at all I've created. The king is speaking. So you just have to, I know it's like you have to take your time and go back and look who is speaking these particular words, especially if it's asking you about point of view or who's speaking that at that moment. Well, if they're saying my name is Ozymandias, that's related to, that's what the plaque says on the sculpture, and it's those words are spoken by the king Ozymandias. Okay, let's go look at the next question you missed. Okay, so number 3. In Ozymandias, Shelley describes only what the traveler saw. So the traveler's telling us he sees this crumbling statue and then nothing but desert all around. Okay, so there's nothing left except the desert. What else might the traveler have experienced while looking at the statue? So we have the singing of birds, the heat of the sun, the taste of fresh water, or the smell of cooking food. So let's look at our poem. If we look at the answer about the birds, it's never told us that he hears anything or that there's any birds. So we know that's probably not it. Then we have the heat. Okay, so nothing remains except lone and level sands. So if we're in the desert, if we have sands everywhere and all that's left is this crumbling statue and sands in this antique land, then I guarantee you in a land of sand and heat with this crumbling statue, there's going to be sun. Now what you chose was the water answer. We're in the desert, okay? So we're in the desert and we have a crumbling statue, sand all around. What is the traveler more likely to see? Sun or water? Okay. I think if you just take your time and kind of calm down and look at the lines and really think about the poem, you're gonna get this answer, because we're not gonna have water. I think what happened on this question is maybe you were just trying to speed through. But if you take your time a little bit, then you can answer these the first time correctly and, not have such a hard time. And if you get to a quiz like this, and sometimes the language in the poems are hard to understand, send me a message and I'll go over the poem with you really quickly. And I think you'll have a better chance of them passing the test first, the first time you take it. And then you can move through more quickly, which is our goal, right? Okay, so then we are going to move to number 7. So the question is, one of the most important ideas. So most important, what do you think? The idea here is, what do you think the theme or the message of the poem is? We have this statue that, yes, it's still there, but what his goal was to show everything he was in charge of or in power of and that he had, and all that's left is this crumbling statue and nothing around him except desert and sand, and it means nothing now. Okay, so we have the permanence of sculpted monuments. Is the monument still there? Yes, but is the poet trying to tell you, look, it's so awesome because this monument is still here. It's made it through and it's permanent and it's wonderful. No, the poet was saying this monument's still here, but nothing else is around it. And so Ozymandias, who died all those thousands of years ago, yes, he might have had earthly power then, but what is it worth now? Okay. The insignificance of physical death. No, I don't. I mean, death is significant. The poem isn't talking about that. Meaninglessness of earthly power. Did it say that that at one time Ozymandias put this statue up to say how powerful he was, and now the traveler is looking at it and all that's left is a crumbling statue, no power, nothing around it? Yes, I would say that shows itself to be connected to the meaninglessness of earthly power. And then poetry of glorious inscriptions. No, the inscription is what's written under the statue, but that's not, the point is not to look at the poetry of what Ozymandias said. Okay, so the answer would be meaninglessness of earthly power. And you just have to break down look at each answer it gives you, really think about it as connected to the question. Most important idea, what is the theme or the message the author is trying to convey? And here, it's that Ozymandias may have had power, but now it's reduced to some words on a crumbling statue and nothing around it. Okay, now let's go to the last one you missed, number 9. Half sunk, a shattered visage lies. So even though the statue's still there, it's still kind of shattered. Visage is the face or the image, whose frown and wrinkled lip. So at that point, Ozymandias was not smiling, and sneer of cold command. So he was sneering. He was, you can almost see how his face would have looked. So it asks us, line 4 and 5 of Ozymandias, which describes his face, most strongly suggests that Ozymandias was. So if he's sneering and he has a face that's, cold command, he doesn't care about anyone, does that show that he's brave? No. He's frowning, he's wrinkled, he's sneering. No, he's not, that doesn't show that he's brave. Ignorant is the fact that he's looking cold and mean and that he is the best. Does that show that he's not smart or that he's ignorant of something? That's the one you chose? I don't believe so. So why would someone who's frowning and has a wrinkled lip, why would that connect to that you're ignorant? But would it connect to that you're arrogant? Have you ever someone who thinks that they're the best? He's this powerful position. He's frowning. He wants to show people that he's in power. He's arrogant, absolutely. Sneering at others, looking down on them, that he's the one in power. That would be arrogant and definitely not thoughtful. He's not thinking. He's trying to show his power and all that he has. And the answer would be arrogant. So when you when you take it again, go back and think about how I explained the poem. If you have quizzes in the future, especially poetry, you have to understand and go through the poem, or you're going to have some issues like you did with this one and have to retake it over and over again. So the best course would be to make sure you understand the poem first, really think about the questions, read the questions carefully, look at your answers, and make your best guess connected to the text and to the question. Okay? If you have any more questions about Ozymandias, or you want me to look at some other piece of it before you take the quiz, let me know. And or I'll be happy to meet with you on Zoom. I know you can do this. Good luck, Kelvin. Bye-bye.